The groom was smiling when the doors opened. By the time the man spoke, the smile was gone, and so was his future. No one expected a wedding to end before the vows were finished. No one expected the man who ended it to speak so softly. His words weren't loud. They didn't need to be. But by the time he finished speaking, the groom's face had already gone white. If this moment pulls you in, stay with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more. 3 months earlier, Amina had learned what it meant to be chosen without being wanted. The proposal came through her father. Business terms dressed in wedding clothes. Park Sang-ho was 34, polished, and connected to half the corporate families in Seoul. He needed a wife who looked right in photographs. Amina needed a visa extension and a reason to stay in the country that had felt more like home than Lagos ever had. She said yes because saying no required energy she no longer had. "You'll be comfortable," her father said over a crackling international call. "He's respected. You'll have everything you need. Everything except choice." The engagement dinner happened in a private room overlooking Namsan Tower. Sang-ho arrived 20 minutes late, smelling like another woman's perfume. He smiled at Amina the way men smile at paintings, appreciating the frame, ignoring the subject. "You're beautiful," he said in English, though she'd spoken Korean to the server. "This will work well." She folded her napkin, smoothed it, said nothing. He talked for 40 minutes about market projections, about the wedding venue his mother had already booked, about the photographer who'd shot his cousin's ceremony last year. Amina watched him the way she'd learned to watch men who thought listening was optional. She catalogued the small betrayals. The way he checked his phone during dessert. The way he introduced her to his colleagues as "my fiancée," but never by name. She smiled when required. She stayed silent when it mattered. 3 weeks before the wedding, the invitations went out. Cream cardstock with gold lettering. 200 guests. A ceremony at Schiller Hotel's Grand Chapel. A reception that would be photographed for 3 different society magazines. Amina's dress hung in her apartment like a ghost. White silk that cost more than her first year of university. She touched the fabric once, then closed the closet door. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Don't do this." She stared at the screen. Deleted the message. Blocked the number. It wasn't the first time someone had tried to reach her. It wouldn't be the last. 2 weeks before the wedding, Sang-ho took her to a charity gala. She wore midnight blue. He wore impatience poorly. "Smile more," he whispered as cameras flashed. "You look like you're at a funeral." She smiled. He moved through the crowd like a man collecting debts, one handshake at a time. Amina drifted toward the terrace, needing air that didn't taste like expensive lies. The garden was empty except for one man. He stood near the fountain, smoke curling from a cigarette held loosely between tattooed knuckles. A rose, dark and detailed, wrapped around each finger. The ink moved when he lifted the cigarette to his lips. He didn't look at her. Amina stepped closer to the railing, keeping distance between them. The city sprawled below, all light and noise and movement. "You shouldn't marry him." The voice was quiet. Certain. She turned. The man's eyes were on her now, dark and unreadable. His suit fit like it had been tailored for violence and then reconsidered at the last moment. When he shifted, his sleeve pulled back slightly. More ink traced his forearm, lines and shapes that meant something to someone. "Excuse me." Her Korean was flawless, but her pulse wasn't. Park Sang-ho. He dropped the cigarette, crushed it under one polished shoe. "You shouldn't marry him. You don't know me." "I know him." He stepped closer, not threatening, just present. "That's enough." Amina felt something cold settle in her chest. This man spoke like someone used to being obeyed, like someone who didn't waste words on people who wouldn't listen. "Who are you?" He smiled, barely. "Someone who pays attention." Then he walked past her, back toward the gala, leaving nothing behind but the faint smell of smoke and a warning she didn't understand. She should have asked his name. She didn't. 1 week before the wedding, Amina's mother called from Lagos. Are you happy, Omomi? Amina looked at her reflection in the apartment window. The city lights turned her into a silhouette. I'm fine, Mama. That's not what I asked. She closed her eyes. I'm doing what needs to be done. Her mother was quiet for a long time. Then, your father thinks this is good for you. I think you deserve better than good enough. Mama. If you need to come home, come home. The wedding can be cancelled. It's too late. It's never too late to choose yourself. But it was. The deposits were paid. The guests had made travel arrangements. Sang-ho's mother had already planned the reception menu down to the orchid centerpieces. Amina had become a train in motion. Stopping required derailing everything. I'll call you after the ceremony, she said softly. Her mother sighed. I'll be praying. The night before the wedding, Amina couldn't sleep. She sat on her apartment balcony, wrapped in a blanket, watching Seoul refuse to rest. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Last chance. Walk away. She should have blocked it immediately. Instead, she typed, Who is this? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Unknown number. Someone who made you a promise. Her hands shook. Amina. I don't remember any promise. Unknown number. You will. The number went dead. When she tried to call back, it didn't connect. Amina pulled the blanket tighter. The city blurred through unshed tears she refused to let fall. Tomorrow, she would marry a man who saw her as decoration. Tomorrow, she would smile for cameras and pretend contentment was the same as joy. Tomorrow, she would become Mrs. Park and lose the last piece of herself that still felt like hers. She went inside. Locked the door. Tried to sleep. The morning of the wedding arrived like an execution date. Amina's suite at the Schiller was full of people who spoke around her, not to her. Makeup artists. Hair stylists. Sang-ho's sisters, who evaluated her like livestock. She photographs well, the youngest one said in Korean, assuming Amina wouldn't understand. Sang-ho always did like exotic things, the other replied. Amina sat perfectly still while someone pinned her veil. Her reflection showed a bride. Beautiful. Composed. Empty. Her phone buzzed one final time. Unknown number. I'm sorry it came to this. She deleted it. Turned off her phone. Let someone slide her feet into shoes that cost more than mercy. The chapel doors were solid oak, carved with symbols of eternity. Amina stood behind them, her father's arm linked through hers. He'd flown in yesterday, all smiles and satisfaction. You look perfect, he said. She felt absent. Music swelled. The doors opened. 200 faces turned toward her. Cameras rose like weapons. At the altar, Sang-ho stood in his custom tuxedo, smiling that empty smile she'd learned to expect. Amina walked. Each step felt like drowning in slow motion. The aisle stretched forever. The flowers were white roses, someone's idea of romance. They smelled like funerals. She reached the altar. Sang-ho took her hand. His palm was damp. The officiant opened his book. Dearly beloved. The chapel doors opened again. Not the gentle opening of a late guest. The decisive opening of someone who owned the room before entering it. Amina turned. Every head turned. The man from the terrace walked down the aisle like he'd built it himself. Same dark suit. Same unreadable expression. Same tattooed hands, now visible as he moved, the rows across his knuckles catching light with each step. Sang-ho's smile flickered. Who? The man stopped 3 feet from the altar. He looked at Amina first. Something passed between them, recognition maybe, or inevitability. Then he looked at Sang-ho. Step back. 2 words. Quiet. Absolute. Sang-ho's face went from confusion to indignation. This is a private ceremony. Security. Won't touch me. The man's voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. Step back from her. Amina's heart was a drum. A scream. A prayer. Sang-ho's grip on her hand tightened. I don't know who you think you are. Lee Min-jae. He said it like a period at the end of a sentence. Final. Inarguable. The room went silent. Amina knew that name. Everyone in Seoul knew that name. Lee Min-jae didn't attend weddings. He ended them. He owned half the underground and enough of the overground that politicians returned his calls within the hour. Sang-ho's hand went slack. Min-jae stepped closer. When he moved, his jacket shifted. Amina caught a glimpse of more ink across his chest. Partial, dark, deliberately hidden. You're holding something that doesn't belong to you, Min-jae said quietly. Sang-ho released Amina's hand like it burned. We're getting married. Legally. No. Min-jae's eyes never left Sang-ho's face. You're leaving. Now. You can't just. Min-jae turned slightly. Two men in dark suits appeared at the chapel's side entrance. Not aggressive. Just present. Just waiting. Sang-ho looked at Amina. Then at the guests. Then at the cameras still recording every second. His face drained of color. This is insane, he whispered. This is over, Min-jae corrected. He finally looked at Amina. You have a choice. You've always had a choice. Her voice came out steadier than her hands. I don't understand. You will. He extended one hand toward her. Palm up. Tattooed rose facing the ceiling. An offer, not a demand. Come with me, or stay with him. But decide now. Sang-ho found his voice. Amina, don't be ridiculous. This man is a criminal. And you, Min-jae said softly, are a coward who bought a bride because no one would choose you freely. He tilted his head. She's choosing now. 200 people held their breath. Amina looked at Sang-ho. At the life she'd agreed to. At the cage dressed in silk and gold. She looked at Min-jae. At the man who'd warned her. Who'd tried to stop this. Who stood in a chapel full of witnesses and security cameras and offered her a way out with nothing but his word. She should have been afraid. She wasn't. She took his hand. His fingers closed around hers. Gentle, certain, warm. The rose tattoo pressed against her skin. Sang-ho made a sound like breaking. You can't. Min-jae turned, Amina's hand still in his. Clear the room. The two men in dark suits moved. Not toward Sang-ho. Toward the exits. Guests began standing, confusion and fear moving them faster than politeness. Amina's father stepped forward. Now wait just One look from Min-jae stopped him mid-sentence. The chapel emptied in 4 minutes. Cameras kept rolling until someone's hand covered each lens. Sang-ho stood at the altar, his face white, his hands shaking. Min-jae looked at the officiant. Leave. The man left. Only the 3 of them remained. Bride. Groom. Interloper. I will marry her instead, Min-jae said. Not to Sang-ho. To the room. To the truth. And you will walk out of here, leave Seoul, and never speak her name again. Sang-ho's jaw worked. You think you can just. I know I can. Min-jae's thumb moved absently across Amina's knuckles. The question is whether you leave with your reputation intact or in pieces. This is kidnapping. She's holding my hand, Min-jae said quietly. Not yours. That's called choosing. Amina's voice surprised her. He's right. Both men looked at her. She met Sang-ho's eyes. I choose to leave. Something in Sang-ho cracked. Humiliation. Rage. Fear. All 3. He turned and walked toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the empty chapel. At the door, he stopped. You'll regret this, he said without turning around. Min-jae smiled. Barely. She already regretted you. This is an improvement. Sang-ho left. The door closed. Silence settled like snow. Amina pulled her hand free, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. What just happened? Min-jae adjusted his cuffs. The motion revealed more of the forearm tattoo, a dragon's tail, maybe. Or something older. I kept a promise. What promise? I don't even know you. You knew me once. He picked up her veil where it had fallen, folded it carefully, set it on the altar. 7 years ago. Lagos. You were 21. Her breath caught. There was a fire, he continued, voice even. An attack on your university. You were trapped in the library with 4 other students. Memory came back like drowning in reverse. The smoke. The screaming. The man who'd appeared from nowhere, face covered, pulling students toward the emergency exit. You pulled me out, she whispered. I pulled everyone out. He met her eyes. But you were the one who thanked me. Who asked my name. You wouldn't tell me. I told you I'd find you again if you ever needed me. His hand moved to his chest, over his heart, over the hidden tattoo. You said that was a strange thing to promise a stranger. I said. She remembered. God, she remembered. I said if you meant it, you'd have to prove it someday. Consider it proven. Amina's legs felt unsteady. She sat on the altar step, white dress pooling around her. That was 7 years ago. How did you even? I kept track. He said it simply, factually. I knew when you came to Seoul. I knew when Park started pursuing you. I knew when you said yes. That's obsessive, he finished. Yes. But also necessary. Why? He crouched in front of her, eye level now. Close enough that she could see the faint scar along his jaw. The way his eyes held something careful. Something that looked like restraint. Because some people, he said quietly, you save once and spend the rest of your life making sure they stay saved. Her throat tightened. You don't even know me. I know enough. He stood, offered his hand again. And now you have a choice. You can walk out of here alone. Go back to your apartment. Pretend this never happened. Or you come with me. Let me explain everything. Let me prove that interrupting your wedding was the least complicated thing I'll ever do for you. Amina looked at his hand, at the rose tattoo that had somehow become familiar in the span of minutes. She'd spent 3 months choosing the safe option, the expected option, the option that required nothing but surrender. She took his hand and stood. Where are we going? Min-jae's smile was slight but real. Somewhere we can talk without 200 witnesses. He led her through a side exit she hadn't known existed. A car waited, black, sleek, windows tinted dark enough to hide every secret ever told inside. The driver didn't look surprised to see a bride. Min-jae opened the door for her. Amina gathered her dress and slid inside. The leather was soft. The interior smelled like cedar and something darker. He sat beside her, leaving careful space between them. The car pulled away from the Schiller. From the wedding that wasn't. From the life she'd almost chosen. Amina watched Seoul blur past. My father is going to lose his mind. Your father, Min-jae said calmly, accepted money from Park to facilitate the marriage. He'll be upset about losing the second half of the payment, not losing you. She turned sharply. What? Park paid him 200 million won. Half up front. Half after the wedding. He met her eyes. You weren't being chosen, Amina. You were being bought. The words hit like a physical thing. Her father's enthusiasm. His insistence. His dismissal of her hesitation. All of it made horrible sense. I'm sorry, Min-jae said quietly. But you needed to know. Amina pressed her palms against her thighs. Breathed. Steady. Controlled. Where are you taking me? My home. You'll be safe there. Safe from what? Park won't accept this quietly. He'll try to salvage his reputation. That means discrediting you. Or worse. Min-jae's jaw tightened. I won't allow worse. The car turned into an underground garage. Private. Secure. The kind of place people disappeared into and emerged from changed. Min-jae helped her out. His hand lingered on her elbow, steadying, not possessive. They took an elevator that required a fingerprint scan. rode in silence to the penthouse level. The doors opened onto a space that felt more like a gallery than a home. Clean lines. Dark wood. Walls covered in art that probably cost more than Amina's entire education. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Han River. This is yours. She stepped inside slowly. This is ours if you stay. She turned. You can't be serious. I'm always serious. He shrugged off his jacket, draped it over a chair. The movement revealed more of his tattoos, the dragon she'd glimpsed earlier, winding up his forearm in blacks and greys. I didn't stop your wedding to play hero, Amina. I stopped it because I want you here. With me. You don't know me, she repeated. Then stay long enough for me to learn. It was insane. All of it. She should have been running, calling someone, demanding answers that made sense. Instead, she stood in a stranger's penthouse wearing a wedding dress meant for another man, and felt safer than she had in months. Min-jae moved to the kitchen. Are you hungry? The question was so absurdly normal that Amina laughed. Sharp and sudden. He paused. Looked at her. Sorry, she managed. It's just, you crashed my wedding and now you're offering me food like we're on a first date. We are on a first date. He pulled out a chair at the kitchen island. Technically. She sat. The dress made a sound like disappointment. Min-jae opened the refrigerator. I have, he paused. Actually, I have very little. I don't cook. What do you eat? Whatever my people bring me. He closed the refrigerator. Pulled out his phone instead. What do you want? I want, Amina said slowly, to understand what's happening. He set the phone down. Leaned against the counter. Ask. Why did you really keep track of me for 7 years? Because you looked at me like I was human. He said it without drama. Without weight. Just fact. Most people look at me like I'm a weapon. Or a wallet. Or something to be avoided. You looked at me like I was just a man who'd done a decent thing. You saved my life. I did my job. He rolled his sleeves up. The dragon tattoo caught the light. But you thanked me like it mattered. Like I mattered. He met her eyes. That doesn't happen often in my world. Amina's chest tightened. So you've been... what? Watching me. Protecting you. He corrected it gently. There's a difference. I didn't need protection. You needed it today. She couldn't argue with that. Min-jae's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Frowned. Park is already moving. He's telling people you had a breakdown. That I coerced you. Of course he is. I can handle him. He typed something quickly. But you need to decide what you want to happen next. What are my options? Option 1. I take you to the airport. You go home to Lagos. I make sure Park never contacts you again. And option 2? His eyes found hers. Steady. Certain. You stay. We finish what was started today. You mean? I mean, he said quietly, I will marry you instead. Legally. Publicly. In a way that makes it clear you're not available. Not to Park. Not to anyone. Amina's pulse was thunder. You're proposing. I'm offering protection. He pushed off the counter. Came around the island. Stopped just close enough that she could see the details of the rose tattoo. Each thorn. Each petal. But if that protection comes with my name, my home, and my commitment, yes. I'm proposing. You don't love me. Not yet, he agreed. But I've spent 7 years making sure you were safe. I've watched you build a life here. I've seen you laugh with friends and navigate a city that wasn't yours and choose grace over bitterness even when you had every right to break. He tilted his head. I don't love you yet. But I respect you. I want you. And I will protect you. That's more than Park ever offered. Amina stood. The dress rustled. They were inches apart now. This is insane, she whispered. Probably. His hand rose slowly, carefully. Gave her time to move away. She didn't. His fingers brushed her cheek. Gentle. Reverent. Stay, he said softly. Let me prove I'm worth the insanity. She should have said no. She should have run. She should have done anything except lean into his touch and whisper, "Okay." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "Okay. I'll stay." Her voice was steadier than her heartbeat. For now. For now is enough. He stepped back. Gave her space. Gave her air. "There's a bedroom down the hall. Second door. It's yours. I'll have someone bring your things from the apartment tomorrow." "Where will you sleep?" "Master suite. Other end of the penthouse." He smiled slightly. "I'm patient. Amina. We don't have to rush anything." She nodded. Tried to process. Failed. "Get some rest," he said. "We'll figure out the details in the morning." Amina walked toward the hallway. Stopped. Turned back. "Min Jae. Yes. Thank you. For today." His expression softened in a way that made him look younger. Almost vulnerable. "You don't need to thank me for keeping a promise." She went to the bedroom. Closed the door. Leaned against it. The dress felt like a costume now. She unzipped it carefully. Let it pool on the floor. Stood in her slip and looked at the city through the window. Somewhere out there, Sang-ho was planning revenge. Her father was counting lost money. 200 guests were spreading rumors. And Amina was standing in a stranger's home, wearing borrowed safety, trying to understand how her life had detonated and reconstructed itself in the span of 3 hours. Her phone, still off, sat in her purse. She left it there. Tomorrow would come with consequences. Tonight, she let herself breathe. She found pajamas in the dresser. Silk. Expensive. New. He'd prepared for her. The thought should have been alarming. Instead, it felt like being seen. Amina climbed into bed. The sheets smelled like lavender and cedar. The mattress held her like an apology. She closed her eyes. Sleep came slowly, then all at once. Morning arrived through floor-to-ceiling windows that turned sunrise into art. Amina woke disoriented. The bed was too soft. The room was too quiet. The dress on the floor was too white. Then memory returned. She sat up slowly. Someone had left coffee on the nightstand. Still hot. Black, the way she preferred. He'd been watching long enough to know how she took her coffee. The thought should have terrified her. It didn't. Amina showered in a bathroom that had better water pressure than her entire apartment building. Dressed in the clothes she'd find in the closet. Jeans, a soft sweater, everything in her size. She emerged to find Min Jae in the kitchen, reading something on a tablet. He looked up. "Good morning." "Morning." She accepted the fresh coffee he poured. "You have my sizes memorized." "I'm thorough. That's one word for it." He almost smiled. "Hungry." "Starving. There's a place nearby. Best juk in Seoul. We can walk." "Is it safe for you to just walk around with you?" He set the tablet down. "Yes. People know better than to approach me when I'm with someone I care about." The words landed soft but deliberate. Amina sipped her coffee. "You keep saying things like that." "Like what?" "Like you care. Like this isn't just about some promise you made 7 years ago." Min Jae studied her. "Would it bother you if it was more?" "I don't know yet." "Fair enough." He grabbed his jacket. "Come on. Let's feed you before you start asking harder questions." They walked through Hanamdong like normal people. Min Jae kept his hands in his pockets, but he stayed close. Aware. Alert. People noticed him. Stepped aside. Didn't stare directly but tracked him peripherally. Amina felt the weight of his presence. The way it carved space. The restaurant was small. Family-owned. The owner greeted Min Jae with a respectful nod and seated them in a corner booth without being asked. "You come here often?" Amina asked. "When I need to remember what normal feels like." The juk arrived steaming. Amina ate slowly, letting warmth settle into her bones. Min-jae watched her. What are you thinking? That yesterday I was about to marry a man I didn't love. Today I'm having breakfast with a man I barely know. And somehow, this feels less strange. Strange how? Strange like inevitable. She set down her spoon. Like maybe I was always supposed to end up here. His expression shifted. Something careful moved through it. I felt that too, he said quietly. 7 years ago. When you looked at me and said thank you like it cost you something to be grateful. I thought, this person is going to matter. I don't know how yet, but she will. And now I know how. He reached across the table, stopped just short of touching her hand. You matter because you chose to. Because when I gave you an option to leave, you stayed. Amina's breath caught. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His jaw tightened. What? She asked. Park filed a police report. Claims I abducted you. Her stomach dropped. Can he? No. But he can make noise. Min-jae typed something. I'm handling it. How? He looked at her. Do you trust me? It was too soon for that question. Too much history missing. Too many unknowns. I'm trying to, she said honestly. That's enough. He stood. Dropped cash on the table. Come on. We need to make a statement before Park controls the narrative. They walked to his car. The drive was silent, tense. 20 minutes later, they pulled up to a building Amina recognized. A media company. One of the largest in Seoul. Why are we here? She asked. Because, Min-jae said, opening her door, we're about to give them the story they actually want. Inside, a conference room waited. Cameras. Reporters. Lights. Amina's pulse spiked. Min-jae. Just follow my lead. He took her hand. Threaded his fingers through hers. They walked into the room together. Cameras flashed. Questions erupted. Min-jae raised one hand. Silence fell like a curtain. Yesterday, he said calmly, I stopped a wedding. Today, I'm clarifying why. He looked at Amina. Then back at the cameras. Amina Balagan was not abducted. She was rescued. From a marriage arranged through financial coercion. From a man who saw her as property. His voice never rose. Never wavered. She is here of her own free will. And as of this moment, she is under my protection. A reporter shouted a question. Are you saying Park Sang-ho? I'm saying Park Sang-ho paid her father to facilitate a marriage. I'm saying he lied about his intentions. I'm saying she deserves better. Min-jae's hand tightened on Amina's. And I'm saying anyone who disagrees can take it up with me personally. The room went silent. Another reporter braver. What is your relationship with Ms. Balagan? Min-jae smiled. Small. Dangerous. She's going to be my wife. Amina's heart stopped. Cameras exploded. Min-jae pulled her closer. Whispered against her ear. Trust me. She did. God help her, she did. The press conference lasted 17 minutes. 17 minutes of Min-jae dismantling Park Sang-ho's credibility with surgical precision. No raised voice. No wasted words. Just facts delivered like verdict sentences. He had bank records showing the payment to Amina's father. He had testimony from staff at the Schiller about Sang-ho's behavior toward vendors. He had photographs of Sang-ho with 3 different women during his engagement to Amina. A man who purchases a bride, Min-jae said into the cameras, doesn't get to claim kidnapping when she chooses to leave. Amina stood beside him, hand still caught in his, watching a man she barely knew wage war on her behalf with nothing but truth and perfect timing. When it ended, Min-jae led her out through a side exit. The car was already waiting. Inside, Amina finally found her voice. You just told the entire country we're getting married. Yes. We've known each other for 24 hours. Technically, 7 years. He loosened his tie. But I understand your point. Do you? She pulled her hand free. Because I don't remember agreeing to marry you. I agreed to stay. That's different. Min-jae turned to face her fully. You're right. I overstepped. I apologize. The simplicity of it caught her off guard. If you want to make a statement tomorrow saying I lied, I'll arrange it, he continued. If you want to leave Seoul entirely, I'll put you on a plane. If you want. I want to understand why you did it. Because Park needed to believe you were untouchable. A woman under my protection is one thing. My fiancé is another. He'll back down now. And if I say no? If I don't want to marry you? Min-jae's expression didn't change. Then you say no. The protection doesn't come with conditions, Amina. It comes because I chose to give it. She studied him, looking for the lie, the angle, the catch. Found nothing but patience. How long do I have to decide? As long as you need. The car pulled into the garage. They rode the elevator in silence. Back to the penthouse that felt less like a cage and more like a question she wasn't ready to answer. Inside, Min-jae went to pour whiskey. Stopped. Do you drink? Sometimes. He poured 2 glasses. Handed her one. They stood at the window, watching the city prepare for night. What happens now? Amina asked quietly. Now we wait. Park will either accept defeat or escalate. My people are monitoring him. Your people? Yes. The ones who do the things you don't talk about. Min-jae smiled faintly. You're not naive. I appreciate that. I can't afford to be naive. She sipped the whiskey. It burned perfectly. My father sold me. The man I agreed to marry saw me as an acquisition. And you, she turned to him. You saved me. But I still don't know why. I told you why. You told me part of it. She set the glass down. What aren't you saying? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, when I pulled you out of that library in Lagos, you were unconscious. Smoke inhalation. I carried you to the medics and you woke up halfway there. He stared into his glass. You opened your eyes and the first thing you said was, "Did everyone get out?" Amina remembered. Barely. Not, "Am I okay?" Not, "What happened?" You asked if everyone else was safe. He met her eyes. I've spent 15 years in a world where people only ask what benefits them. And you, 21, terrified, barely breathing. You asked about strangers first. Her throat tightened. I decided that day, Min-jae said softly, that if I ever had the chance to protect something good in this world, I would. You were that chance. I'm not that good. You're good enough. He moved closer. Not touching. Just near. And I've spent 7 years making sure nothing happened to you. I'm not going to stop now just because it's inconvenient or complicated or insane. This is all 3 of those things. I know. His hand rose. Hesitated. May I? She nodded. His fingers brushed her temple, tucking a loose curl behind her ear. The touch was gentle, deliberate, gone before she could analyze it. Get some rest, he said. Tomorrow will be worse before it gets better. He was right. By morning, the story had metastasized. Every news site, every social media platform. Photos of Amina in her wedding dress, hand in Min-jae's, leaving the chapel. Video of the press conference. Speculation ranging from romantic to criminal. Mafia boss steals bride in dramatic wedding crash. Love or power play. Lee Min-jae's shocking claim. Park Sang-ho threatens legal action after fiancé leaves with rival. Amina read them all on the tablet Min-jae had left for her. Each article felt like watching her life become fiction. Her phone, now on, was a graveyard of missed calls. Her father, 12 times. Sang-ho's mother, 8. Friends who wanted gossip disguised as concern. One message stood out. Unknown number. He can't protect you forever. She showed it to Min-jae over breakfast. He read it once. Forwarded it somewhere. Set the phone down. That's Park. Different number, same threats. Should I be worried? No. He's posturing. Min-jae poured coffee. But I'm moving up security anyway. What does that mean? It means anywhere you go, someone goes with you. Non-negotiable. Amina bristled. I'm not a prisoner. You're a target. He said it gently but firmly. Until Park accepts that you're not coming back, you're at risk. I won't apologize for keeping you safe. She wanted to argue. Couldn't find the angle that didn't sound like pride over sense. Fine. But I'm not hiding in this penthouse forever. I wouldn't ask you to. Min-jae checked his watch. Actually, you have a visitor in an hour. Who? Your mother. Amina nearly dropped her coffee. What? She flew in last night. She's staying at the Four Seasons. I offered to bring her here, but she wanted neutral ground. He pulled out his phone. Showed her a message thread. She seems formidable. Amina read the messages. Her mother's tone came through even in text. Concerned, direct, no nonsense. Mrs. Balogun, I need to see my daughter. Alone. Min-jae, of course. I'll arrange a car. Mrs. Balogun, I'll arrange my own car. Just tell me she's safe. Min-jae, she's safe. You have my word. Mrs. Balogun, your word means nothing to me yet. But I'm trusting my daughter's judgment. Amina's chest ached. She came. She's your mother. Of course she came. Min-jae stood. I'll have a car ready in 30 minutes. Where do you want to meet her? There's a cafe. Itaewon. She'd like it there. Done. The cafe was small, tucked between a bookstore and a vintage shop. Amina's mother sat at a corner table, wearing her best traveling clothes and an expression that could cut glass. She stood when Amina entered. They met in the middle, held each other without words. Omomi, her mother whispered. What have you done? I left, Mama. I know. I saw. She pulled back, examining Amina's face like checking for damage. Are you hurt? No. Are you safe? I think so. You think? Her mother's eyes sharpened. That's not the same as knowing. They sat. Ordered tea neither of them would drink. Tell me everything, her mother said. So Amina did. The engagement. The warnings. The wedding. Min-jae's entrance. The press conference. All of it. Her mother listened without interrupting. When Amina finished, she was quiet for a long time. Your father, she finally said, took money. You knew. I suspected. He's been too pleased with himself. She looked out the window. I should have pushed harder. Asked more questions. I'm sorry, Amina. It's not your fault. It's not yours either. Her mother's hand covered hers. This man. Lee Min-jae. Do you trust him? I'm trying to. That's not an answer. Amina thought about Min-jae's hands. The careful way he touched her. The patience in his voice. The fact that he'd kept her safe for 7 years without asking for anything in return. He's dangerous, she said slowly. But not to me. I think he's been waiting for me. And I don't know if that's romantic or terrifying. It can be both. Her mother squeezed her hand. What do you want, Omomi? Not what's safe. Not what's expected. What do you want? Amina closed her eyes. Breathed. I want to know what it feels like to be chosen because someone wants me. Not because I'm useful or decorative or convenient. I want. Her voice cracked. I want to matter. You've always mattered. Not like this. She opened her eyes. He looks at me like I'm the answer to a question he's been asking for years. And maybe that should scare me. But it doesn't. It feels like finally being seen. Her mother studied her. Then nodded slowly. Then stay. Figure it out. But promise me, if it goes wrong, you come home. No shame. No judgment. Just come home. I promise. They talked for another hour. About Lagos. About Amina's apartment, which would need to be cleared. about the scandal that was probably making international news by now. When they parted, her mother held her close. "This Lee Min-jae. If he hurts you, tell me. I'll handle it myself." Amina smiled. "I believe you." Outside, Min-jae's car waited. The driver opened the door. Her mother looked at the vehicle. Then at Amina. "Expensive car. Expensive man. Make sure he knows you're priceless. Mama." "I'm serious." She kissed Amina's forehead. "Be smart. Be safe. Be loved." Amina got in the car. Watched her mother walk away, spine straight, head high. The drive back was quiet. Amina stared out the window, processing. At the penthouse, Min-jae was waiting. He looked up when she entered. "How did it go?" "She told me to come home if you hurt me. Also, she implied she'd kill you herself if necessary." Min-jae smiled. Actually smiled. "I like her already. She's formidable. Like her daughter." He gestured to the kitchen. "Hungry. Starving." This time, the refrigerator was full. Someone had stocked it while they were gone. Min-jae pulled out ingredients. "I had my chef prepare some things. You just heat and eat. I still can't cook. Never learned. Never had reason to." He handed her a container. "My mother died when I was young. After that, it was just survival. Cooking wasn't part of the curriculum." Amina paused. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. It was a long time ago." He leaned against the counter. "But it's why I understand what it means to be alone. Why I recognize it in other people." "You think I'm alone?" "I think you've been alone in crowded rooms your entire life." His eyes held hers. "I think you learned to smile through it. To make it look like a choice instead of a sentence." Her breath caught. "Am I wrong?" he asked quietly. "No." "Then let me be the person who sees it. Who doesn't make you perform." Amina set the container down. "You say things like that and expect me to just, what? Believe you. I expect you to test me. To push back. To make me prove it." He stepped closer. "I'm patient. Amina. Take all the time you need. And if I decide I don't want this, any of this, then I'll still keep you safe. I'll still make sure Park never touches you. I'll still..." He stopped. Reconsidered. "I'll still care. Whether you're here or not." She believed him. That was the terrifying part. 3 days passed in strange domesticity. Min-jae left for work each morning. Came back each evening. They ate dinner together. Talked about small things. Avoided the big questions. Amina explored the penthouse. Found a library with first editions. A music room with a piano that looked untouched. A closet full of clothes in her size that kept appearing like someone was reading her mind. On the 4th day, she found the photographs. They were in a drawer in Min-jae's study. Not hidden, exactly. Just not displayed. Photos of her. Dozens of them. Amina at her university in Lagos. Amina at a cafe in Seoul. Amina walking through Hanamdong, coffee in hand. Amina laughing with friends. 7 years of surveillance disguised as protection. She should have been horrified. Instead, she felt known. Min-jae found her there, photos spread across his desk. He stopped in the doorway. "I can explain." "Can you?" She held up a photo from 2 years ago. Her birthday. She'd been alone, eating cake by herself in her apartment. "Were you there?" "Across the street." "Why?" "Because you were alone on your birthday. Because I wanted to make sure you were okay. Because..." He moved into the room. "Because I've been watching over you for so long, I don't know how to stop." "This is obsessive, Min-jae." "I know. This is crossing every line," he finished. "I know that too. I won't apologize for keeping you safe. But I will apologize for not telling you sooner." Amina looked at the photos. At 7 years of her life. Documented. Protected. observed. Did you ever think about just introducing yourself? Like a normal person. Every day. He picked up one of the photos. Her, reading in a park. But I had nothing to offer you except danger. I wasn't ready to bring you into my world. And you, he set it down carefully. You were building something good. I didn't want to ruin it. So you waited. Until you needed me. Yes. That's either the most romantic or the most disturbing thing I've ever heard. It can be both. She laughed. Couldn't help it. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. He moved closer. I know this is complicated. I know I've done everything backward. But I meant what I said at the press conference. I want you here. I want. He stopped. Started again. I want to earn the right to be in your life. Not as a shadow. As something real. Amina met his eyes. What if I can't give you that? Then I'll accept it. But I'm still going to ask you to try. Her phone rang. Interrupted the moment. Unknown number. She answered. Amina. Park Sang-ho's voice. Tight. Controlled. Furious. We need to talk. Min Jae's expression went cold. There's nothing to talk about, Amina said. You humiliated me. You destroyed my reputation. I left a wedding I should never have agreed to. That's not humiliation. That's honesty. You think hiding behind Lee Min Jae makes you untouchable? I'm not hiding. Then meet me. Tonight. Alone. Prove you're making your own choices. Min Jae shook his head. Mouthed. No. Amina looked at him. At the man who'd spent 7 years protecting her from shadows. Then back at the phone. Fine. Where? Min Jae's jaw clenched. The Lotte Tower. Observation deck. 8 o'clock. Sang-ho hung up. Amina lowered the phone. You're not going, Min Jae said. Yes, I am. He's baiting you. This is me making my own choice. She met his eyes. You said you'd let me decide. So I'm deciding. I'm going to meet him. I'm going to tell him to his face that I'm done. And then I'm coming back here. Not alone, you're not. Then come with me. But don't stop me. Min Jae stared at her. Calculation moving behind his eyes. Fine. But my people surround the location. And if he touches you, I'm ending this my way. Fair enough. That evening, Amina dressed carefully. Simple black dress. Flat shoes. Hair pulled back. Min Jae wore his usual dark suit. But this time, he wore his authority visibly. The tattoos on his hands. The way he carried himself. Every inch the man who'd crashed a wedding and declared ownership. They drove in silence. At Lotte Tower, Min Jae's security team was already in place. Subtle. Effective. They rode the elevator to the observation deck. The city spread below them like spilled light. Sang-ho waited by the windows. Alone. Or appearing to be. He turned when they entered. His eyes went to Min Jae first. Then to Amina. I said alone. And I said I'm making my own choices, Amina replied. This is my choice. Sang-ho's face twisted. You really think this is better? Him. A criminal. I think, Amina said quietly, that he sees me as a person. That's more than you ever did. I gave you everything. You gave me a transaction. A contract. Not a partnership. She stepped forward. Min Jae stayed back, letting her lead. You wanted a decorative wife. Someone who'd smile for photos and not ask questions. That was never going to be me. You agreed. Because my father took your money and I didn't know there was another option. Her voice stayed level. Firm. But now I do. So I'm choosing it. Sang-ho looked at Min Jae. You think you've won. I don't think, Min Jae said quietly. I know. She'll get tired of you. Of this life. Of hiding. I'm not hiding, Amina interrupted. I'm standing right here. Telling you directly. It's over. Accept it. Sang-ho's hands curled into fists. You've ruined me. No. You ruined yourself. She turned toward the elevator. Toward Min-jae. Toward the choice that felt less like falling and more like landing. Sang-ho's voice followed her. This isn't over. Min-jae turned back. Slow. Deliberate. Yes, he said softly. It is. And if you contact her again, I won't be this civilized. They left. In the elevator, Amina's hands shook. Min-jae took them gently. You were incredible. I was terrified. That makes it more incredible. He brought her hands to his lips, kissed her knuckles. The gesture was old-fashioned, tender. Over before she could process it. The elevator descended. At ground level, cameras waited. Reporters. Someone had tipped them off. Ms. Balogun. Did you meet with Park Sang-ho? Are you really marrying Lee Min-jae? Was the wedding crash planned? Min-jae's hand found the small of her back. Steady. Grounding. Amina stopped. Looked at the cameras. I'll make one statement, she said clearly. And then I'm done answering questions. The crowd quieted. I left my wedding because I deserved better than being bought. I'm with Lee Min-jae because he's proven he sees me as an equal. And yes, she felt Min-jae's hand tighten slightly. If he asks me properly, I'll marry him. The reporters erupted. Min-jae leaned close to her ear. Did you just propose to me? I said if you ask properly. That's not a proposal. That's a challenge. His laugh was quiet. Real. They walked to the car through the chaos. Cameras flashing. Questions shouted. Inside, the driver pulled away smoothly. Min-jae looked at her. You just told the world you'd marry me. I told them I'd consider it. Big difference. Amina. Ask me properly, she said. Not in front of cameras. Not as strategy. Ask me because you mean it. He was quiet for a long moment. Not yet, he said finally. When I ask, it won't be because we're cornered. It'll be because I can't imagine a version of my life where you're not in it. Her heart did something complicated. How long until that happens? Ask me again when you're sure you want the answer. They drove through Seoul in comfortable silence. At the penthouse, Min-jae poured wine. They stood at the window, watching the city refuse to sleep. What happens tomorrow? Amina asked. Tomorrow, the headlines will say you confirmed we're together. Park will make one last attempt to save face. And then, he turned to her. Then we get to figure out what normal looks like for us. Do you even know what normal is? No. But I'm willing to learn. He set his glass down. With you. Amina moved closer. Not touching. Just near. I'm still scared, she admitted. Of me. Of this. Of choosing something that feels too good to be real. It's real, he said quietly. I'm real. This is real. And I will prove it to you every day until you believe it. She believed him now. But she wanted to hear him say it again tomorrow. And the day after. And every day after that. Outside, Seoul glittered. Inside, something fragile and new began to take shape. Not love. Not yet. But the architecture of it. The foundation. The promise of what could be built if they both chose to stay. The next morning, Amina woke to breakfast already prepared. Fresh fruit. Pastries from the bakery she'd mentioned liking once, weeks ago. Min-jae was in his study, on a call. She could hear him through the door, his voice low, authoritative, handling something she didn't need to understand. She ate slowly. Read the news on her tablet. The headlines were exactly what Min-jae predicted. Breaking. Amina Balogun confirms relationship with Lee Min-jae. Park Sang-ho's reputation in free fall after failed wedding. From bride to Mafia boss's fiancé. The story that shocked Seoul. Her phone buzzed. Her mother. Mama. I saw the news. Are you okay? Amina. Better than okay. I'm figuring it out. Mama. Good. Call me this weekend. I want details. Amina. I will. I love you. Mama. Love you too, Omomi. Be smart. Min-jae emerged from his study. Morning. Morning. She gestured to the breakfast. You're spoiling me. That's the plan. He poured coffee. How do you feel about dinner out tonight? Public. Visible. Making it clear we're not hiding. Nervous. But willing. Good. I'll make a reservation. The day passed in strange peace. Amina worked on her laptop, freelance translation work she'd been neglecting. Min-jae handled his business from the study. They existed in the same space without crowding each other. It felt like something that could become home. That evening, they dressed for dinner. Amina chose a burgundy dress that made her skin glow. Min-jae wore all black, tattoos visible, looking every inch the man who'd stopped a wedding with 6 words. The restaurant was exclusive. The kind of place where reservations required weeks of notice or the right last name. They were seated immediately. Corner table. Privacy and visibility perfectly balanced. Min-jae ordered in Korean. Amina understood every word but let him lead. You know what I like, she said when the server left. I told you. I pay attention. For 7 years. Yes. She leaned back. That's going to take some getting used to. Take your time. The food arrived in courses. Each one perfect. Each one a story told through taste. Amina watched Min-jae across the table. The way he moved. The way other diners glanced at him, then quickly away. The way he commanded space without trying. What are you thinking? He asked. That you're terrifying to everyone except me. Should you be terrified? Probably. But I'm not. His hand moved across the table. Palm up. Offering. She took it. His thumb traced her knuckles. I need to tell you something. Her pulse quickened. Okay. Park made a move today. Financial. He tried to freeze your accounts. Block your visa extension. Anger spiked. Can he do that? He tried. I stopped it. Min-jae's grip tightened slightly. But it means he's not done. He's going to keep pushing until something breaks. What do? We finish this. Permanently. He met her eyes. I'm going to offer him a way out. Clean exit. He leaves Seoul, drops all claims, stays silent. In return, I don't release the evidence I have of his other activities. What evidence? The kind that would make the police very interested in his business practices. Min-jae's expression didn't change. He'll take the deal. And if he doesn't, then I stop being polite. Amina should have been disturbed. Should have questioned the morality. Should have pushed back. Instead, she felt protected. When? She asked. Tomorrow. One final meeting. Then it's done. I want to be there. Amina. I want to be there, she repeated. He needs to see that I'm not afraid. That I chose this. That I'm staying. Min-jae studied her. This isn't your fight. Yes, it is. He tried to buy me. He tried to control me. I get to be there when you end him. A slow smile crossed Min-jae's face. All right. You can be there. They finished dinner. Walked out through the main entrance where cameras waited. Min-jae didn't hide her. Didn't rush her through. He walked with his hand at her back, letting everyone see. In the car, Amina exhaled. I'm starting to understand your life. What do you mean? Every moment is calculated. Every appearance means something. Even dinner is strategy. Does that bother you? It should. She looked at him. But I think I like knowing where I stand. No surprises. No hidden agendas. There's one hidden agenda, he admitted. What's that? I want you to fall in love with me. He said it simply. Directly. That's my agenda. Everything else is just clearing the path. Amina's breath caught. Too honest? He asked. No. Just, she smiled. Terrifyingly honest. I can dial it back. Don't. She reached for his hand. I'm tired of people hiding what they want. Say it. Mean it. Let me decide. His fingers threaded through hers. Then here's what I want. I want you safe. I want you happy. I want you to wake up in my home and feel like it's yours too. I want, he paused, considered. I want to be the reason you smile. Not because I demand it. Because I've earned it. You're working on it. I'll keep working. The car pulled into the garage. They rode the elevator up in silence that felt less like quiet and more like conversation without words. Inside the penthouse, Min-jae loosened his tie. There's something I want to show you. He led her to the music room. The piano she'd noticed before. Do you play? She asked. My mother taught me. Before she died. He sat at the bench. I haven't played in years. Why not? Because it reminded me of being young. Of being powerless. Of losing things I couldn't protect. Amina sat beside him. And now I want to remember. His hands found the keys. Close your eyes. She did. The music started soft. A melody that felt like memory and longing braided together. It built slowly, layering complexity, revealing depth. Amina felt tears press behind her closed lids. When the last note faded, she opened her eyes. Min-jae was watching her. That was beautiful, she whispered. It's called The Promise. His hand covered hers on the bench. I wrote it 7 years ago. After Lagos. After I knew I'd find you again. Her heart was thunder. Min-jae. He leaned closer. Slowly. Giving her time to move away. She didn't. His forehead touched hers. Tell me to stop. I don't want you to stop. His lips brushed hers. Soft. Questioning. Reverent. Amina's hand found his chest. Felt his heart racing beneath ink and skin and layers of control. The kiss deepened. Careful. Slow. Like he was memorizing every second. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. That was, Amina started. Overdue, he finished. She laughed. Soft and real. Come on, he said, standing. It's late. He walked her to her bedroom door. Stopped. Sleep well, he said. That's it. After that kiss. I'm patient, remember? He touched her cheek. When we go further, it'll be because you're sure. Not because the moment swept us away. What if I'm sure now? His smile was gentle. Then you'll still be sure tomorrow. And I'll still be here. He kissed her forehead. Then left. Amina stood in the hallway, heart racing, skin humming. She went inside. Closed the door. Touched her lips where his had been. Fell asleep smiling. Morning came with certainty instead of doubt. Amina woke knowing 3 things. She was safe, she was seen. And today Park Sang-ho's grip on her life would end permanently. She dressed in navy blue. Professional. Unshakable. When she emerged, Min-jae was already in the kitchen, wearing charcoal gray that made him look like he'd been carved from stone. Ready? He asked. Yes. They didn't need more words than that. The meeting was set for a private room at the Park Hyatt. Neutral ground. Public enough to keep things civilized. Private enough for honesty. In the car, Min-jae briefed her. I'll do the talking. But if you want to say something, say it. He needs to see you're not the woman he tried to buy anymore. I was never that woman. He just didn't look closely enough to notice. Min-jae's hand found hers. He's about to notice. The hotel was pristine. All marble and muted luxury. They were escorted to a private dining room on the 32nd floor. Park Sang-ho was already there. Seated. Suit immaculate. Expression tight. He stood when they entered. Looked at Amina first. You actually came. I said I would. She sat across from him. Min-jae sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. Sang-ho's jaw worked. This is really what you want? Him? Yes. Why? Because he's powerful? Because he threatened me? Because he sees me as a person, Amina said evenly. Because when he looks at me, he sees someone worth protecting, not someone worth purchasing. Sang-ho flinched. Min-jae opened a folder, slid it across the table. That's your exit. Take it. Sang-ho opened the folder. His face paled. Where did you? I have sources. You have choices. Min-jae's voice stayed calm. Option 1. You take the severance package I'm offering. 500 million won. You leave Seoul. You release any claim to Amina, financial or otherwise. You never contact her again. In return, none of this, he gestured to the documents, reaches the prosecutors. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you dignity. Min-jae leaned back. Option 2. I release everything. The bribes. The shell companies. The falsified contracts. Your family's name gets destroyed. You go to prison. And Amina still walks away from you. Sang-ho's hands trembled. You can't prove half of this. I can prove all of it. The question is whether I need to. Silence stretched like wire. Amina watched Sang-ho's face. Saw the moment calculation overtook pride. What do I have to do? He asked quietly. Sign the release. Min-jae produced another document. It states that your engagement to Amina was entered into under false pretenses. That you release all claims. That you acknowledge your behavior was inappropriate. It's vague enough to protect your reputation if you handle it quietly. And the money? In your account within the hour. Sang-ho looked at Amina. Did you know about this? The evidence? No. But I'm not surprised he has it. She held his gaze. You thought you could buy people and control outcomes. Min-jae thinks 10 steps ahead. You never had a chance. Something broke in Sang-ho's expression. I would have been good to you. No, Amina said softly. You would have been comfortable. That's not the same thing. He picked up the pen. Hesitated. Sign it, Min-jae said. Or don't. But decide now. Sang-ho signed. The scratch of ink on paper sounded like the ending it was. Min-jae took the document. Checked it. Nodded. You have 72 hours to leave Seoul. If you're still here after that, the deal is void. Sang-ho stood. Looked at Amina one last time. I hope he's worth it. He is, she said simply. Sang-ho left without another word. The door closed. Amina exhaled. It's really over. It's over. Min-jae folded the documents. He'll leave. He's too smart not to. Thank you. You don't need to thank me for. Yes, I do. She turned to face him fully. You could have just protected me from a distance. You didn't have to crash my wedding. You didn't have to offer him a way out instead of just destroying him. You gave him dignity even though he didn't deserve it. I did that for you. Not him. Min-jae's hand found her face. I need you to understand something. Everything I do now is for you. The deals. The restraint. The way I'm handling this. It's all because I want to be someone you can respect. Not just someone you need. Her throat tightened. You're already both. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I'm going to ask you something. And you can say no. Ask. Move into the master suite. Not because I'm expecting anything. But because I want to wake up knowing you're close. I want. He stopped. Started again. I want to stop pretending we're just roommates when we both know this is more. Amina's heart raced. What is this? Tell me what you want it to be. She thought about the last week. The careful touches. The way he looked at her like she was rare and breakable and strong all at once. The kiss that had felt like a promise and a question. I want it to be real, she said. I want to stop being afraid of how fast this is moving and just move with it. Then move with me. His forehead touched hers. Say yes. Yes. The word hung between them. Permission. Commitment. Trust. Min-jae kissed her. Slow and deep and certain. His hands cradled her face like she was something precious he'd been waiting his whole life to hold. Amina melted into it. Into him. Into the inevitability that had been building since the moment he'd walked into that chapel. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. Come on, he said, standing. Let's go home. Home. The word felt right. Back at the penthouse, Amina stood in the doorway of the master suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A bed that looked like it could hold secrets and promises in equal measure. Everything dark wood and clean lines and space that felt both intimate and infinite. I'll help you move your things, Min-jae said. I don't have much. Then it won't take long. They moved her belongings together. Clothes into the closet that was already half empty, waiting for her. Books onto the shelf beside his. Her laptop on the desk that faced the window. When it was done, the room felt like theirs instead of his. Amina sat on the bed. Min-jae joined her, keeping careful distance. I need to tell you something, she said. Okay. I'm scared. Of how much I'm starting to feel. Of how fast this is happening. Of how much it would hurt if... She stopped. If this goes wrong. It won't. You can't promise that. No. But I can promise I'll fight for this. For you. Every single day. He took her hand. I've spent 7 years protecting you from a distance. Now I get to protect you up close. I'm not wasting that. What if I disappoint you? You won't. But even if you did, his grip tightened slightly. I've seen you at your most vulnerable. Unconscious in my arms. Terrified at that altar. Shaking after confronting Sang-ho. You think I don't already know every version of you? You can't know everything. Then show me. He shifted closer. Show me the parts you think are disappointing. The ugly parts. The scared parts. I want all of it. Amina's eyes burned. Why? Because I don't want perfect. I want real. His hand moved to her face. I want the woman who asked if everyone got out while she was barely breathing. I want the woman who chose to leave a wedding instead of being comfortable. I want. His voice roughened. I want you. Exactly as you are. She kissed him. Not gentle this time. Desperate. Like she'd been holding back and finally had permission to let go. Min-jae responded immediately. His hands sliding into her hair, angling her face to deepen the kiss. His control fracturing just enough to show her what he'd been restraining. They fell back onto the bed. Bodies close. Hearts racing. Min-jae pulled back just enough to look at her. Tell me what you want. You. This. Her hands found the buttons of his shirt. All of it. He caught her hands. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. He released her hands. Let her continue. She unbuttoned his shirt slowly, revealing ink and muscle and scars that told stories he'd share eventually. The dragon wound up his ribs. The rose over his heart. Each mark deliberate. Meaningful. You're beautiful, she whispered. So are you. His hands found the zipper of her dress. May I? Yes. He undressed her like she was art. Careful. Reverent. Every movement asking permission. When they were skin to skin, Min-jae paused. If at any point you want to stop. I won't want to stop. But if you do, I'll tell you. She pulled him closer. I promise. What happened next was gentle. Slow. A conversation spoken in touch and breath, and the kind of intimacy that felt like safety and surrender braided together. Min-jae mapped every inch of her skin. Learned what made her gasp. What made her arch into him. What made her say his name like a prayer. Amina discovered that beneath all his control, Min-jae was tender. Careful. Determined to make her feel cherished instead of just desired. When they finally came together, it felt less like falling and more like landing exactly where they belonged. After, They lay tangled in sheets and each other. Min Jae's fingers tracing idle patterns on her shoulder. Stay, he whispered against her hair. I'm not going anywhere. I mean forever. He pulled back to look at her. Stay forever. Amina's breath caught. Min Jae. I know it's fast. I know we should wait. But I've already waited 7 years. I don't want to waste another minute pretending I don't know exactly what I want. His hand found hers. I want you. Here. With me. Always. That sounds like a proposal. Not yet. When I propose, you'll know. He kissed her knuckles. This is just me asking you to stay. To build something with me. To let this be the beginning instead of an interruption. And if I say yes, then we figure it out together. Day by day. No rush. No pressure. Just, he smiled. Just us. Amina looked at him. At the man who'd crashed her wedding and offered her freedom disguised as protection. At the man who'd kissed her like she was the answer he'd been searching for. At the man who saw her exactly as she was and wanted her anyway. Okay, she said softly. Okay. I'll stay. She kissed him. Let's figure it out together. His smile was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. They fell asleep wrapped around each other. Safe. Chosen. Home. 3 weeks later, Amina stood in the penthouse kitchen making breakfast when Min Jae emerged from the study. He looked exhausted. He'd been on calls until past midnight, handling something he wouldn't explain. Coffee, she offered. Please. He sat at the island, watched her move through the space like she'd always belonged there. She poured his coffee. Black, no sugar. Set it in front of him. Thank you. Rough night. Productive night. He sipped. It's handled. What's handled? Your father. Amina paused. What about him? He's been trying to reach you. Demanding money. Claiming you owe him for the wedding arrangements. Min Jae's expression stayed neutral. I sent him a message explaining that any further contact will be met with legal action. She should have felt something. Anger. Sadness. Betrayal. Instead, she just felt free. Thank you. You don't sound surprised. I'm not. He showed me who he was when he took Sang-ho's money. She sat beside Min Jae. I just needed permission to stop hoping he'd be different. You have it. You're not obligated to forgive him. Or maintain a relationship. You get to choose. I choose to move on. Good. He pulled her closer. Your mother called, by the way. She wants to visit next month. Amina smiled. She wants to inspect you properly. I look forward to it. He kissed her temple. I want her to approve. She already does. She's just protective. So am I. His hand found hers. Which reminds me. I have something for you. He stood. Pulled a small box from his pocket. Amina's heart stopped. Min Jae. It's not what you think. Not yet. He opened the box. Inside was a key. Simple. Silver. Key to the penthouse. So you stop saying you're staying at Min Jae's place, and start saying, home. Her eyes burned. You're really asking me to. I'm asking you to make this official. Your name on the lease. Your space. Our home. He took the key out. Held it between them. What do you say? I say, she took the key. I say yes. This is home. His smile could have lit the city. There's one more thing, he said. What? He pulled out his phone. Showed her an article. Lee Min Jae announces major philanthropy initiative. Scholarship fund for international students. Amina read quickly. You're funding scholarships? In your name. For students like you were. Smart. Ambitious. Trying to build lives in new countries. He set the phone down. I can't give you back 7 years. But I can help other people who remind me of you. Tears spilled over. Min Jae, this is selfish, he finished. I want you to see what I see when I look at you. Someone worth protecting. Someone worth celebrating. Someone who makes the world better just by being in it. She kissed him, deep and grateful and full of everything she was still learning to say. When they broke apart, Min-jae wiped her tears with his thumb. I love you, she whispered. He went still. Say that again. I love you. Louder this time. Certain. I love you for seeing me. For waiting. For choosing me every single day. I love you. His hands framed her face. I've loved you since Lagos. Since you opened your eyes and asked about strangers before yourself. His voice roughened. I just didn't have the right to say it yet. You have the right now. Then I love you, Amina. I will love you tomorrow. And every day after that. They stood in the kitchen holding each other while coffee went cold and morning light turned everything gold. Eventually, Min-jae pulled back. We should eat. We should. They made breakfast together, moving around each other like they'd done this for years instead of weeks. Amina's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She tensed. Min-jae noticed. What is it? She showed him. Unknown. Congratulations on the new life. You deserve it. SH. Sang-ho. Final message. Final acknowledgement. Min-jae read it. Deleted it. Blocked the number. He's gone, he said simply. Good. They ate breakfast. Talked about small things. Made plans for the day. Normal. Domestic. Real. Later that afternoon, Min-jae had to leave for a meeting. Business he couldn't postpone. I'll be back by dinner, he promised. I'll be here. He kissed her goodbye. Lingered like he always did. Like every departure required extra time to make up for 7 years of distance. Amina watched him leave. Then turned to the penthouse, her home now, and felt something settle. She'd been bought. Then saved. Then chosen. Now she was simply loved. She spent the afternoon working. Translation projects piling up in the best way. Her career rebuilding. Her life expanding instead of contracting. At sunset, she stood at the windows, watching Seoul come alive with light. Her phone rang. Min-jae. Hey, she answered. Hey. Still coming home for dinner. Wouldn't miss it. Good. Because I'm picking something up on the way. What? You'll see. He hung up. Amina smiled. Went to change for dinner. Chose the burgundy dress he loved. Let her hair down. Applied lipstick the color of promises. When Min-jae returned, he carried bags from her favorite restaurant. Set them on the counter. Then he turned to her. His expression made her breath catch. What? She asked. I lied. About what? I said when I proposed, you'd know. That it wouldn't be subtle. He reached into his jacket. Pulled out a small velvet box. But I can't wait anymore. Amina's hands flew to her mouth. Min-jae knelt. I know we said we'd take our time. I know this is fast. I know, he opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple. Elegant. A single diamond that caught light and held it. I know I don't deserve you. But I love you. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving I was worth the risk you took. Tears streamed down her face. Amina Balagan, he said quietly. Will you marry me? Not because cameras are watching. Not because we're cornered. But because I can't imagine a version of my life where you're not in it. She dropped to her knees in front of him. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes, I love you. Yes to all of it. He slid the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. They kissed on the kitchen floor. Laughing and crying and holding each other like they were the only real things in the world. I was supposed to propose somewhere romantic, Min-jae said against her lips. This is romantic. She pulled back to look at the ring. At him. This is perfect. He stood. Pulled her up with him. We should celebrate. We should eat first. I'm starving. After 7 years of waiting, you're worried about dinner? You brought my favorite food. I'm not wasting it. He laughed. Real and deep and full of joy. They ate dinner, fed each other, talked about wedding plans and honeymoons and the future that stretched out like an open road. After, they stood at the window. Amina's back to Min Jae's chest. His arms around her. The ring catching city light. What are you thinking? He asked. That a month ago, I was about to marry the wrong man. Now I'm engaged to the right one. She turned in his arms. How did this become my life? I crashed your wedding. Best decision you ever made. Second best, he corrected. The best was deciding to save you 7 years ago. She kissed him. Soft and slow and sweet. We should call my mother, she said eventually. Now. She'll want to know. And she'll be furious if we wait. Min Jae pulled out his phone. Hit dial. Put it on speaker. Amina's mother answered on the second ring. Amina? It's late. Is everything? Mama. I'm engaged. Silence. Then, to Lee Min Jae? Yes. More silence. Mama. I'm getting my passport ready. I need to see this ring in person. And I need to have a conversation with your fiancé about expectations. Min Jae smiled. I look forward to it, Mrs. Balogun. You should be terrified, young man. I am. Respectfully terrified. Amina's mother laughed. Good. Take care of my daughter. I'll be there in 2 weeks. We'll be ready. They hung up. Amina looked at Min Jae. She's going to interrogate you. I know. She's going to ask about your business, your intentions, your entire life history. I know. She's terrifying when she wants to be. Like mother, like daughter. He kissed her forehead. I'm not worried. Why not? Because I'm telling the truth. I love you. I want to marry you. I will protect you and honor you and choose you every single day for the rest of our lives. He pulled her closer. That's all she needs to hear. And if she doesn't approve? Then I'll spend however long it takes proving I'm worthy of her daughter. He smiled. But she'll approve. Eventually. Amina rested her head against his chest. Listened to his heartbeat. Steady. Strong. Hers. I can't believe this is real, she whispered. Believe it. His arms tightened. This is the most real thing I've ever done. They stood there while the city pulsed below. Two people who'd found each other in fire and waited 7 years to come home. What happens now? Amina asked. Now we plan a wedding. A real one. One you actually want. And after that we live. We build. We figure out what forever looks like when you're not running and I'm not waiting. She pulled back to look at him. That sounds perfect. It will be. I promise. And Amina believed him. Because Lee Min Jae had never broken a promise to her yet. 2 months later, they married in a small ceremony overlooking the Han River. Amina's mother sat in the front row, handkerchief pressed to her eyes, smiling despite her tears. She'd spent 3 weeks with them. Interrogating Min Jae. Falling in love with his quiet devotion. Approving in the way mothers do when they realize their daughters have chosen well. No 200 guests. No society magazines. No performance. Just family. Real family. The kind built by choice instead of obligation. Min Jae's people filled half the chairs. Men in expensive suits with dangerous eyes who looked at Amina with something close to reverence. Their boss's wife. Their boss's miracle. Amina's friends filled the other half. People she'd collected in Seoul. People who'd seen her build a life and refused to let it break. The officiant was the same one from the first wedding. He'd agreed immediately when Min Jae called. Grateful for the chance to finish what had been interrupted. Amina wore ivory instead of white. A dress she'd chosen herself. Simple. Elegant. Hers. Min Jae wore black. Tattoos visible. No hiding. No pretending to be anything other than exactly who he was. When she walked down the aisle, her mother beside her this time, Min Jae's expression cracked. Just slightly. Just enough to show her what this meant. They met at the altar. The officiant smiled. "We've done this before. This time we finish it," Min Jae said quietly. The ceremony was short. Traditional Korean vows mixed with personal promises. Min Jae promised protection, partnership, patience. Amina promised trust, truth, forever. When the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," Min Jae took his time. He cradled Amina's face, looked at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. Then he kissed her. Gentle, deep, final. The guests erupted in applause. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. "Hello, wife," Min Jae whispered. "Hello, husband." They walked back down the aisle together, hand in hand, rings catching light. The reception was intimate. Good food, better wine, toasts that made people laugh and cry in equal measure. Min Jae's second-in-command stood to speak. A man named Kong who looked like he could kill someone with a dinner fork. "I've known Min Jae for 15 years, he said. "I've never seen him care about anything except survival and strategy." Then he met Amina. He raised his glass. To the woman who made him human again. Everyone drank. Amina's mother spoke next. "When my daughter called to tell me she was leaving her wedding, I was terrified. When she told me why, I was proud." She looked at Min Jae. "You kept her safe. You gave her choice. You loved her well. That's all a mother can ask for." Min Jae nodded, respect passing between them. The night continued. Dancing, laughter, joy that felt earned instead of performed. Near midnight, Min Jae pulled Amina aside, led her to the terrace overlooking the river. "Happy?" he asked. Deliriously. "Good." He wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Thank you." "For what?" "For staying. For taking the risk. For choosing me even though I crashed your wedding and stalked you for 7 years. Protected me for 7 years, she corrected. "That too." She turned in his arms. "Thank you for seeing me. For waiting. For being exactly who I needed exactly when I needed you." He kissed her. Slow and sweet and full of promises they'd spend their lives keeping. "Ready to go home?" he asked. "Home sounds perfect." They said their goodbyes. Accepted congratulations and well wishes and knowing smiles. Min Jae's driver took them back to the penthouse. Their home. The place where everything had started and continued and would build into something neither of them could have imagined alone. Inside, Amina kicked off her shoes. Min Jae loosened his tie. They stood at the window, watching the city they'd claimed together. "What are you thinking?" Min Jae asked. "That a year ago, I didn't know you existed. Now I can't imagine life without you. Time is strange that way. So is fate. You believe in fate now? I believe in you." She turned to face him. "That's close enough." He smiled. "Come here." She went. He kissed her, deep and claiming and tender all at once. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "Bed," he suggested. "Bed." They went to the master suite. Their room. Their space. Min Jae undressed her slowly, reverently, like he had all the time in the world and intended to use every second. Amina returned the favor, mapping ink and muscle and scars. Knowing each mark, each story, each piece of him he'd given her. They came together like they always did. Gentle, certain, safe. After, they lay tangled in sheets and each other. "I love you," Amina whispered. "I love you," Min Jae replied. "Forever. Promise." "I've never broken a promise to you yet." She smiled, closed her eyes. Let sleep take her. Safe. Loved. Home. 6 months after the wedding, Amina stood in the penthouse kitchen making breakfast when she felt arms wrap around her waist. "Morning," Min Jae murmured against her neck. Morning. She leaned back into him. Coffee's ready. You're perfect. I made coffee. That's not perfection. You exist in my kitchen wearing my shirt. That's perfection. She turned in his arms. Charmer. Only for you. He kissed her. What's the plan today? I have translations due. You have meetings. Then dinner with Mama. She's visiting again. I like your mother. She likes you too. Finally. She approved after the wedding. She approved after she saw how you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention. Min-jae smiled. How do I look at you? Like I'm the best decision you ever made. You are. She kissed him. Long and sweet. Her phone buzzed. Message from an unknown number. She tensed instinctively. Min-jae noticed. What? She opened the message. Unknown. Saw your wedding photos in the news. You look happy. Glad you chose well. SH. Sangho. Final message. Amina showed Min-jae. He read it. Handed the phone back. Block him. No. Let him see we're happy. Let him know leaving was the right choice. Min-jae studied her. You're generous. I'm grateful. He's part of why we happened. I can afford to be kind. He pulled her closer. Have I mentioned I love you? Not in the last 5 minutes. I love you. I love you too. They finished breakfast. Went about their day. Separate but connected. That evening, Amina's mother came for dinner. They ate on the terrace. Talked about Lagos. About Seoul. About the scholarship fund that was funding its 3rd cohort of students. You've built something good here, her mother said, looking at Amina and Min-jae. We're trying, Amina replied. You're succeeding. She stood. Now, let me see these wedding photos everyone keeps talking about. They went inside. Pulled up the album. Professional shots of the ceremony. Candid moments. Joy captured in pixels and light. Amina's mother paused on one photo. Min-jae looking at Amina during their first dance. Expression open. Vulnerable. Completely in love. That's the look I was talking about, she said softly. Min-jae came to see. Looked at the photo. Then at Amina. Still true, he said. Her mother smiled. Good. Keep it that way. Later, after she left, Amina and Min-jae stood at the window. Their spot. Their ritual. Happy, he asked. More than I thought possible. Good. He pulled out his phone. I have something to show you. He opened an email. Forwarded it to her. She read it. Once. Twice. You bought the building where the library was? In Lagos. I'm renovating it. Turning it into a community center. Education. Resources. Safety. He watched her face. Where we met should be something good. Something lasting. Tears spilled over. Min-jae. It opens next year. I want you there. I want us to see it together. She couldn't speak. Could only hold him and cry and feel the weight of being loved this completely. Thank you, she finally managed. You don't need to thank me for honoring the moment my life changed. They stood there, holding each other, building forever one moment at a time. Outside, Seoul pulsed with light and life. Inside, 2 people who'd found each other in fire and waited 7 years to come home were exactly where they belonged. Together. Chosen. Forever. The end. Amina Balagan had been bought. Then saved. Then chosen. Now she was simply loved. And Lee Min-jae, the man who'd crashed her wedding with 6 words, kept every promise he'd ever made. Starting with the one he'd whispered 7 years ago in Lagos. If you ever need me, I'll find you. He'd found her. And this time, he was never letting go.